Desert, place I've been several times before. Got an early kick. They had an open date, so they had a little extra time. But we'll need a good week of practice. It's a very talented team. See what happens.
Rich, so start with general. You guys have played so much better the last 3 weeks. Give me the whys. When you look at it, what have you done so much better recently?
Well, we have played better. I think, of course, we were playing really poorly at times earlier in the season, but there was no panic. I didn't think we played really well all the time this past weekend, but there was no panic. Played with probably more of a sense of maturity, if that's the right word. In the game, we didn't make when we made a mistake, guys didn't get down, wasn't looking at the scoreboard, wasn't panicking, anything like that. So every win's a good win. But we're continuing to grow. We're still going to have moments. I mean, we got two really good opponents left in the regular season, and we're going to have to play better to win those games. But anytime you win or play, even when you play well, you get some confidence, and I think that's the best thing about having a win is it gives you guys more confidence.
Watch the tape. What jumps out at you with Arizona State, offensively, defensively?
Yeah, athletically, they've done a great job. I mean, obviously, he turned it around from his first year to the second year, and still got the same. I think I'm not sure how many starters they got back on offense, but on defense, there's 7 or 8 guys that were starters. Got a lot of guys coming back from the team that won the conference last year. They're well coached. There'll be a good environment. Like I said, I've been there several times, and they're not out of position. They force you to execute to beat them, and that's what we'll have to do if we have a chance Saturday.
Outside of injuries, what do you think has been the difference for them this year, where it's been a little bit more of a roller coaster ride, whereas last year they won the conference?
Yeah, I could. I'd probably have to do a deeper dive or study into what happened last year. I didn't.
Right.
I've been. Yeah, so I know they went, completely flipped it around and had a great year, won the league, and was really playing good football. I think they had a chance to beat Texas in the playoff, went to overtime, whatever. I mean, they were just playing great, and they got a lot of those guys back. But I think they got on a roll and got a lot of confidence, and that's part of it. I think the same thing, too. I think that confidence carried over. They had a little bit more bad luck this year. Not quite as much as us, but they've had some that they've had to deal with. They're adapting well. Again, like they said, they beat one of the best teams in the country in Texas Tech, and so it's going to be quite the challenge.
Rich, do you give a period during the week where it's kind of like whether it's practice or meetings, where it's kind of like an experimental period where no idea is a bad idea, and you come up with some of the ideas like playing Curtis Jones at running back or adding another fullback, or is it kind of more just off the cusp?
It's a little bit. It doesn't happen during practice, but it's the whole thing of the necessity being the mother of invention. Kind of one of those kind of deals. We're getting, all of our running backs are getting hurt, just like our quarterbacks are getting hurt. And what do we got to do? Who's played running back before? So it's not. There wasn't a whole lot of thought into that, but with Curtis, we're gonna have to play. We're gonna have to give him more reps. Dior is banged up. He battled through it last weekend. We got 2 tough games left, so we got to continue to get Curtis more and more reps. And going forward, to your point, we talked about in recruiting. A lot of these guys we recruit play both ways in high school, and if they're good enough to play both ways in high school and can transition that to do a little bit of that in college, we're going to play them both ways. It won't be a lot, but you're going to see more and more, I think, teams do that. We are. A guy could be a fullback and a defensive end, or a wide out, a DB or something. And we're looking at that as we speak with some of the recruits that we have.
It's just meeting time. With position, with
large majority of it is on defense. Okay. Our offense is so simple. You can meet for 15 minutes and I'm good. So he'll spend more time on defensive meetings.
Does the offense change at all with Jeff Sims in there, or different things?
Well, they weren't afraid to run the quarterback, right? They're going to play with 11, and he was lights out in the last game. So, no, to answer your question, they don't really change. And Jeff's, he's an experienced guy. He's been 5 or 6 years. He's been there, done that, played in a lot of big games. So I'm sure they feel confident that whatever they want to do, he can handle.
Rich, what's your blocking from your tight ends, especially in the twin set, has kind of come along the past 2 or 3
They've
weeks?
got better.
Just familiarity, more reps?
A little bit, yeah, that, and we challenge them a little bit. They're not the biggest guys, 225, 230 pounds. We like for everyone to be 250, but they, I thought Coach Nicewander challenged them the last couple of weeks to get a little bit more physical in our blocking on the perimeter with the tight ends, and I think the last couple of weeks we've seen some steps in that direction.
Their smaller size seems to help them because they might pull play side, they might go backside. You
Yeah,
do a lot with them.
and we line up our tight ends all over the place. They're split out as much as they're in tight in the box. So our tight ends, again, we play a lot of 11 personnel, 12 personnel, and we require them to do a lot. We'll continue to do that. Those are some of the best athletes on our team.
Give me some of your memories of Arizona State. Obviously, that was a big rivalry,
Yeah.
Arizona State. What was it like? What are your memories?
Yeah,
of
it was. There's some, it's typical to the college athletic rivalries. I mean, there's that true hatred of the two schools. It's in the same. It was unique. It's in the same state, in the same conference, and there was a lot of recruiting battles against each other, and there was no love lost at all whatsoever. So I might probably hear a few things. There might be some stuff yelled at there, but it won't be the first time it's happened. I've heard it up there before, but I've always thought they had a great environment. They're in a great location for recruiting, and Kenny and his staff have done a really good job there.
You mentioned that Curtis playing running back was partly off necessity as well because
Right.
of the size of who's left. Is the plan now to look for players who can have success on both sides of the ball, something that's been adapted throughout the season, kind of learn this is a good idea as you're dealing with this rough year one in a way?
Yeah, some of that is part of it, but you would like to think our luck will be a little bit better going forward. That you're not going to lose, two guys within the first 3 games. So you got to hope that's not going to happen. But if it does, we got to be prepared for it. That's why back with the quarterback situation, everyone said, "Wow, how do you rep 5 quarterbacks in August? Well, you ever think you're going to be playing 5 quarterbacks?" Well, guess what? We played 5 quarterbacks. Had to. So you never know what's going to happen. But we're going to be able to build a lot better depth overall and get some guys that we think can we develop in the next 2 or 3 years as well in this recruiting class. So I'm pretty excited about that part of it.
Rich, 2 guys who played more Saturday than I remember them playing, and Christian Hamilton and then John Lewis. I'm sorry, John Lewis. So
Yeah.
what have you seen out of them that
Yeah.
sort of brought them?
Still, they were new guys. Well, everybody's new, but they weren't here, to go through spring ball and all that with. So Christian was banged up for a long time, and now he got a chance to play a little bit and show some stuff there. So that's good because we got to play more wideouts. You got to get Preston Fox healthy, and he'll play more. Christian will play more. Justin Smith-Brown, he's got to get healthy so he can play more, and all that. And then John Lewis was on most of the special teams, but he was still learning our defense, and it was good to see him in there because he's got some talent and he can help us out a little bit. And we're probably not alone. This is I think our 5th straight game without a break, and so we're probably a little bit more banged up and beat up, but that gives opportunities to someone else, and that's what's going to happen this weekend.
Coach, in regards to what Kenny and his staff have been able to do with building that program up, what stands out to you about how successful they've been in doing that these last few years?
Well, I think they've got a location where Phoenix, Arizona. It's obviously you say it's in a desert, but it's an easy destination to get to from a standpoint. They got all kinds of flights in and out of there, and so they're able to get a lot of guys that come visit on campus. And their high school football is pretty good in that area as well. There's a lot of talented guys, and Kenny's from there. He knows the area, and I think they've done a good job of getting some guys from there. But they've also got some guys from some transfers that come in and made an impact. And it's all about evaluation. And if you're going to get some guys, it's getting the right guys to fit in. And I think they got the right guys, both mentally and physically, that they wanted last year to help get it flipped. And then they've built on that going forward.
Last week, they didn't practice at all. Pretty unusual. So they're going to be
Yeah,
fresh.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, they said he did, and they probably did some work. You know, they're going to be, you know, like I said, they're going to be fresh and ready to go, right? I mean, I'm sure the coaches didn't sit around at home. I'm sure the coaches were working, the players were probably doing something too. So, you know, they'll had a little extra time to get ready for the Mountaineers.
How do you go about Tyson? Just plan on him playing? Jordan Tyson?
Yeah, I haven't seen a depth chart. Has anything come out yet?
No, I mean, he's missed the last 2 with a hammy, so.
Yeah, I don't know. He's one of the best. He's not just one of the best receivers in the country. I've watched a lot of. He's one of the best players in the country. Period. I'm just tremendously amount of respect for who he is as a player, and you can see how he works, and just, you know, he's one of the best I've seen in years.
On Saturday, the game kind of started off with exchanging punts and different things like that. How crucial was that blocked punt that turned into the safety? Because then after that, you guys go down and have a 12-play drive to score a touchdown.
Yeah, we weren't playing well on offense. Defense was playing pretty good, and we had worked so hard on blocking punts, and we hadn't gotten one all year. We were close a couple of times, but I was getting frustrated with that unit. And I remember as soon as it happened, a bunch of players came up to me and said, "You finally got one, coach?" And I'm like, "Nah, you guys finally got one." But that was a momentum change, even though it was just 2 points. I mean, it was got the spirits up on the sidelines. Obviously, we should have had good field position afterwards. But I think I don't know what the percentage is. You guys would know. I think, but if you block a punt, you probably win like 75-80% of your games that you do that. So that was big.
Rich, in regards to your linebackers, what's impressed you about them these last couple of games?
Well, they've been battling through. I mean, all of them have been taking turns getting hurt, whether it's Chase or Reed or Ben or whoever it is, and they keep battling going in there. And Zach was blitzing them a lot. They got home a few times, and they're all tough guys, and they're very, very conscientious. I mean, they're older guys. A lot of them are older guys that are maybe in their last year of football, but they've done a really good job in maybe just this short 1 year period of providing great leadership on defense. And you can look around on defense. Those other guys, those linebackers are the guys that our players look to.
Rich, you've talked a lot about building the culture and developing the culture, and maybe it wasn't there earlier, and maybe it's getting there now. How important is it to have even veterans like a Reed Carrico, for example, who aren't going to be here the rest of your contract, but literally said after the game they want to try to make a bowl game, end this season on a high note, just for the better of the program, even if it doesn't better them individually? Like, that has to be a big deal.
It is a big deal, and sometimes you realize, gosh, these seniors, you only had them for 7 or 8 months or something like that. And I've always said, part of our responsibility and job, I guess it is for every player to truly enjoy their experience while they're here, and for the seniors to have the best experience their senior year. Obviously the more you win, the better your experience is going to be, right? But, I truly believe that it's our job as coaches and our job as a program is for our players to enjoy the experience, and for our senior class especially to have the best experience of their lives. And if you ask them 20 years from now, they'll tell you the same thing. And so to me, that is a big deal that our seniors, it ain't always, sunshine and rainbows and all that, but I want them to be happy that they played here at West Virginia, happy that they were part of this program.
Looking at their linebackers, they seem to make it go. What makes them so effective on that end?
Really athletic. I mean, every one of them can run. They're 225, 230 pounds. They have no problem covering, wide outs, doing different things. So it's a very, very athletic defense, and their linebackers are guys that stand out for sure.
Pass rush, 24 sacks. I guess they're getting Dorba back. What do they do to get pressure on the quarterback?
Yeah, they did. You mentioned Dorba. He's one of the best in the league. They're really big in the interior defensive line, pretty athletic. They'll do some stunts in some games, but they don't have to do a lot. They don't have to overload you and blitz and play cover zero to put pressure on the quarterback. They've been able to get pressure with just sending 4 a lot of times.
As much as you may have struggled early on, what can you say about the fan support even coming out this past weekend? It seemed like the crowd was in it the whole time.
I said it after the game. Our the crowd was terrific. I mean, they turned out. It was a great crowd. It was great weather. And they made an impact too. They were loud at certain times in the game to make it hard on them. They were loud at the end of the game. stayed around and sang country roads. It was, I mean, our fans have been absolutely terrific. Really appreciate, really all year, in every game. They've been there and have supported us, and they've got one more to go to at home. We hope we'll pack it out again. But and our players appreciate it. I know that too. And, I said this after the game, it makes an impact for us, a huge impact in recruiting, because there's prospects here at every game. There'll be a bunch of prospects here at our last game. And when they come to a game and it's a huge crowd and they're into the game and they're cheering for us and it's loud, it makes an impact in their decision. I really believe that. And so our fans are much appreciated when they do that.
You had other things to do this weekend, but did you get any chance to enjoy the reunion with the Sugar Bowl team and such like that?
I wish I would have had more time. To that point, Greg, I came after the game. We were still talking to recruits, and I got to see some of the guys, Stevie Slayton and Darius Reynaud and some of those guys. I saw them because I didn't get a chance to see all of them before the game because we were so busy with the pregame stuff and recruiting. But I did get a chance to see a few of them after the game. But, got to talk with Owen Schmidt after the game as well. Those guys had a great time. And what our athletic department did to honor them was really neat. I didn't really get a chance to, be a part of it and notice it too much because I was coaching. But I know everybody that was a part of that team then really appreciated the recognition.
Gonna fly Steve Slayton around. He's 2-0.
Is he? Yeah.
He was at Houston.
Yeah. There was a couple other guys. It was so great to see him, and I did get a chance to see one of the interviews after the game that he did, and it was just it's typical Steve. We were like that chair. Yeah, typical Steve is so humble, and always deflecting the attention, and that's the way he was as a player. So, but I thought it was a great honor, and hopefully I'll get a chance to see him maybe during the Hall of Fame ceremony.
Rich, can you kind of see your team's growth, maturity, whatever, in how they've prepared and performed in road games?
You would think you'd see some difference, but there really hasn't been much difference in our preparation and their approach early in the year to now. It's been the same. It's been consistently the same. Now, obviously, the results have been a little bit better the last couple games, but I said this before, like when we weren't winning and what have you, I didn't see like cracks in the wall. I didn't see issues with their effort or their focus or that. Maybe there was a lack of confidence, certainly, and I think they'll have more of that. But there never was a time like, Lee, I don't like coaching these guys or whatever. No, it was never that. So that's why I'm glad they had just a little bit of success, because they've put in the work, and they'll continue to do that. And there's another level we'll get to from that standpoint. Like, we'll get to the point where I won't have to nearly preach it as much. This is how we do stuff. This is how we do stuff. The players will be more of that conduit than I will be. But that's my job, so we'll get it done.
Kind of that goes into this game then too. You haven't changed a whole lot, you said, and to have people who just stick with it when all the stuff you dealt with, you could have changed on the fly so many times. Stay pretty much right in the middle. Does that pay off in the long run rather than
when you're playing poorly or when things aren't going well? There could be a sense of panic, and I don't know. It's 28 years of experience doing it. I'm not going to sit back here and say. I can't be so egotistical saying this is the way it always is and the way it's going to be. Trust me, every day got evaluated. Okay, what are we doing? How are we doing it? But I do that all the time, whether we win or lose. So I'm never like, we're going to do this no matter what. It's always constantly evaluated. Are we doing the right things and doing it the right way, doing it with the right people? That's a constant that happens whether you're winning or losing, or no matter what you're in year one with the program or year 6 with the program. So that has never changed. But we weren't to the point when I did that evaluation, like, golly, we got to throw all this out and start all over again. There's a lot of corrections that will still be made in this offseason, some stuff that we'll fix. But we can't, we'll do that every year, whether we win them all or lose them all.
Play against a team that's got rest. Does that impact your preparation at all?
That's a fair question. Not really, because we were busy getting ready for last week's game. We know they're going to be fresh and excited, and I think the biggest thing is sometimes when you come out after a team's had an open date, you got to be ready for something different early. They may do something tricky on special teams or on offense, or they may show you a different front or coverage that they haven't worked on. And so you got to kind of be prepared for the things that they haven't shown from a self scout standpoint. But, that's kind of typical.
I know you mentioned there won't be as much turnover in year 2 as there was in year 1, but
staff-wise or player-wise?
Player-wise, not as much. Even if
we do have a bunch of seniors, though.
Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be some. So I guess my question is, are you able to carry over momentum from ending a season strong into next year in this era, like maybe you could have 20 years ago or 10 years ago?
I think so. Not as much, because we're going to turn over more than, because we did take a bunch of older transfers. And that's the intent of us getting more high school guys, because we want to get them here for 3 or 4 years. And so we don't, going forward, there's not 30-some seniors, whatever, what have you. And so that's kind of the plan going forward. This year we had to do what we had to do. But I also think if there's just 35 or say there's 50 players coming back, there's 50 guys that understand our culture, which is more than we had last year, which was none of them, other than maybe a couple guys at Jack State. So that part of it, you got half the team instead of the whole team. And not that it was like a major, I don't want to make you think it was a major flip in culture or nothing like that. It wasn't. But just everybody has their own way of doing things and their approach to it, whether it's offensive schemes, defensive schemes, special teams, how you run your program, all that. There's just little ways that you identify within your program, and guys understand it. And going forward, we'll have more players, not just the coaches, to help us institute that stuff.
Scotty makes the viewer. What should we take from that? That didn't look.
Yeah, that was one. When I talk about he makes some next level throws. That was one of them. A field throw on a sail route to a back outside the numbers, on time, in stride. I mean, that's looked like an easy throw. That was a next level throw and next level timing. And so that was something that he showed early, back in the summer.